Hey guys, Mark here, and the other day I asked you what your favorite OS is over on my community page, and almost a couple of thousand of you responded. Most of you said Android, which I kinda expected. About a fifth of you said iOS, and about a fourth of you said both. Some of you guys picked my joke fridge answer, which kudos to you, you're the real winners here, but let's read some of the comments from that post. Albus Dumbledore, not sure what a powerful wizard is doing with a smartphone, but he says, I'm the kind of overly crazy customization nerd who spends ages finding cool minimal wallpapers, made his own custom icon pack using Adapticons, and has a rooted device running a custom ROM. A little bit of a flex there, wouldn't you say? It's Android all the way for him, and yeah, that's a totally fair statement. There's not many people out there that would argue against the fact that Android is definitely the superior operating system when it comes to customization, but as I'll show you in a minute, iOS can come kind of close with the right tweaks. Am I the only one that takes my Samsung smart fridge with me whenever I have a test in school? I really like that mental image of a fridge just chilling next to you in the middle of class. Mr. New City says he chooses iOS because he doesn't want all of his data to be given away to an advertising company. And it's true, Apple does heavily lean into security as a selling point for all their devices, not just the iPhone, and there's definitely an argument to be made there against Android as it's a more secure device where data is concerned. Manzar says, I think everyone should try both with an open mind, and yeah, honestly, that's how I feel about it. Obviously, you guys saw the thumbnail of the video, so you know that I use both Android and iOS. I just think that Android and iOS each have their own merit, and I integrate both of them into my workflow. So we'll start with iOS first. My current iPhone of choice is the XS Max, which I'm currently testing out for a video where I explore whether or not it's a phone worth picking up now that the used and refurbished prices have gone way down in price. As you can clearly see, this is not what a normal iPhone looks like. I'm like Dumbledore back in the comments. I'm a crazy customization nerd too, and iOS the way it stands just isn't enough for me. So I jailbroke it and added a bunch of tweaks, which isn't hard, takes very little time, and is totally legal as long as you're not going to use it to pirate anything. And yes, I'll have my wallpapers down in the description down below. On my home screen, the first thing you'll notice is that I actually have a blank space here, which shouldn't be possible on iOS. Well, it's not actually a blank space, it's a tweak called blank icons, which fills the home screen full of transparent icons to make it look as if there's a blank space here. If you want a full guide on how to jailbreak and download these tweaks, by the way, I'd recommend following Quinn's guide from Snazzy Labs, and I'll link it down below. Jailbreaking also lets you install widgets like this one called Viola Weather. There's a ton of widgets and tweaks available through Cydia when you jailbreak. Some are free and some aren't. The app icons I have downloaded are also called Viola, and I like how clean and minimal they look. You can turn off the home screen text and the gesture bar with a tweak called Clean Home Screen. You can change the size and shape of the icons with Snowboard and a whole bunch of other stuff which allows you to get almost the level of Android customization on an iPhone, which is awesome. Anyway, as for the apps I have on my phone, my dock has the 4 most used apps. The actual phone part of my phone, the messaging app, Gmail, and Google Chrome. The other 8 apps that are on my first page of my home screen are the next most used apps, and then they go down in priority as you scroll from left to right. On the second page, I have a few useful card widgets at the top that'll allow me to control my media, see what the weather is like in my current location, and it'll tell me how much battery I have left with the estimated time. Finally, on the third page is what you'd consider your traditional app drawer on Android. It's where all the other apps go that I don't use all that frequently. There are also a bunch of other changes that I've made to the overall iOS experience that just goes beyond the home screen. For example, with a tweak called Prism, I've completely changed the control panel and it looks a lot nicer and cleaner in my opinion. You can even change the place where you drag to open it. It used to be up in the top right-hand corner and you'd have to just drag down, but I've actually switched it to the bottom right-hand corner so that you can use one hand to get it up pretty easily. God, that sounded terrible. I also have a tweak called Auto Unlock X that automatically unlocks the phone without having to swipe up on the lock screen with Face ID. There's just a ton of stuff that you can do to improve the shortcomings of iOS and still get things like iMessage, FaceTime, AirDrop, Apple Watch integration, and all the other good stuff that make iOS awesome. All that said, there's still a whole lot of stuff that you need to do to get all of that customization properly working, and even then, it can be kind of buggy every now and again. That's not something you have to worry about when it comes to an Android phone, because right out of the box, it's got great potential for customization. Right now, I'm still using my OnePlus 8 and I'm absolutely loving it, although I expect this will change soon as we move into smartphone season, me being a tech reviewer and all. There's not a whole lot of fancy stuff going on with my OnePlus 8 because I just really like OnePlus's implementation of Android with Oxygen OS. It's very clean and minimal, I love the system fonts, and I love how everything is laid out. And I think that Oxygen is right up there with Google's own version of Android. You'll notice that everything is laid out similarly to my iPhone. Most used apps in the dock, second most used apps on the second page, and then the rest of them are in the app drawer. Very simple, very clean. I don't like putting a lot of clutter everywhere. It just kind of hurts my eyes. There's a simple clock widget at the top of the home screen with the date, and then at the bottom I have the phone app, Messenger, Settings, Gmail, and Chrome. The app icons are from the lines-free icon pack in the Google Play Store. I didn't have to jailbreak or root anything to make those work, thankfully. Thumbs up to you, Android. One thing I like about my iPhone is that it'll automatically switch between light mode and dark mode as it turns to night, but I'm not sure if I can do that on the OnePlus 8, and if you guys know how, let me know in a comment below. I know you can change the theme to dark mode manually, but I don't think there's an automatic option, but I could be wrong. I also obviously have gestures enabled. Since Android gestures more or less became exactly like iOS gestures, switching from iOS to Android and vice versa is just much more seamless and easy to get used to. Plus, I don't really like the look of the icons at the bottom anyway. The gestures are simple, intuitive, and they give you more screen real estate at the bottom. You know how the Samsung S20 series had that app pinning feature where if you had an app pinned, it would just keep it open no matter what, so that certain apps would always be fast and ready to go? Well, the OnePlus 8 doesn't really have that, but it does have this feature I like where if you swipe up and press and hold on an app, you can lock it so that it can't be closed, and it works almost just as well. They can be closed if you haven't used it in a long time, but in my experience, they almost always stay open. So I keep media-heavy apps like Instagram, Twitter, and Google locked in here so that they're always open and ready to go at a moment's notice. Naturally, the OnePlus 8 is running at 90 Hz as opposed to the iPhone, which is locked at 60. I really hope the iPhone 12 has a high refresh rate because the difference between the feel of these two phones is crazy. The OnePlus 8 just feels so much faster with the 90 Hz display. One thing I did need to tweak on the OnePlus 8 is the default camera app. OnePlus is still updating their camera software, but as of right now, the color science just still isn't there. So I installed the Google Camera APK onto the phone, and I use that for any photos I take of people where colors tend to be more important. Unfortunately, I can't get the ultra-wide camera to work at the minute without crashing the app, but for the main camera and selfie camera photos, this will work just fine. So those are my current smartphone setups. I love my iPhone as it's more of a work phone where I need to send files quickly through AirDrop to my iMac or have a FaceTime meeting with a client, but my OnePlus 8 is my go-to media device with the high refresh rate display and sheer customization options that Android OS offers me. Do I have a preference? No. I use both and I switch between them frequently, and I can't imagine using either of them exclusively. I like them both. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to support my channel. And as always, have a great day.